White Lotus, Season 2, Episode 7, the finale. It's here, my friends. Let's talk about it. Who dies? What happens? Before we get into any of that, make sure you're subscribing. We are running a giveaway right now. All you have to do is subscribe. Make sure you comment down below your favorite movie or TV show. It could even be The White Lotus of 2022, and that gets you an entry into our giveaway. So make sure you subscribe and comment below your favorite movie of 2022 or TV show. And on December 25th, we will pick a winner to win the giveaway. But let's get right into this episode that was just insanity upon insanity. So everything that happened, did Harper cheat? What is Ethan gonna do? Is Cameron gonna be the one that dies? What is the whole thing going on with Greg, Tanya, and all of that? So let's get into it. So let's start off with Harper, Ethan, that are pretty much just having a very, very tense-filled vacation right now, because Harper at the beginning is believing that Ethan cheated on her because she found the condom in the room and all of that. So she had been giving Ethan a pretty hard time, trying to really get under his skin about what happened. But now it seems that Ethan's the one getting under his own skin, thinking about, did Harper and Cameron do something when I was out swimming and they came up to the room by themselves? And he sort of pressures Harper into wanting to know what happened. And eventually Harper just says, you know what, we did. We kissed and that was it. Ethan does not believe this one bit, but now he is pretty much determined to get at Cameron because he now knows that Cameron did try to make a move on his wife. He confronts him at the beach where they get into a little brawl. A tourist comes through and tries to stop him, but he eventually gets a punch on Cameron. He then goes and sees Daphne and tells her what happened. And of course, we know Daphne is a little bit more lenient with Cameron cheating, so she doesn't really care that much. All she tells Ethan is, don't be a victim. Let's do something that's gonna sort of get this victim feeling out of you. And she leads him into a isolated part of the island where they pretty much, I think, in my opinion, and I think this is up to viewer interpretation, do a little something to get back at Cameron and Harper and sort of feel better. Eventually, at the end of the night, the couple do reunite, both of them, and they just have one final toast and dinner before they leave the next day. So I think that whole thing is pretty much completely done. I think that Ethan and Harper are in a better place, as we see at the end of the show, that they finally are able to have a little moment together in the bedroom. And I think that Cameron and Daphne have always had this spark of theirs, because in their weird relationship, whatever they have, it sort of is always something is going on that makes the other jealous of the other. And I think that was what worked for them, and it sort of seems to work now for Ethan and Harper as well. So I think there's that right there. We also see that Alby now wants to give Lucia money as well in order to get her to escape from this pimp that she has, Alessio, and he asks for Dominic to give him the 50,000 euros. In exchange, he will put in a good word to his mother about him. As we know, Dominic had cheated on the mother, been a bad husband, all of this, but Dominic's sort of regretting all of this and wants to get back with her. So Alby putting in a good word would be great, and Alby is like, I'll do this. And so we see Dominic be a little hesitant about the money at first, and by the end of it, he does give the money to Lucia. But we see that Lucia, of course, was always playing Alby, so by the next day, she's out of his life. And that's pretty much where that is, that ending right there. So now, who exactly died in the end of the White Lotus? Let's talk about that. But now let's get into the meat and potatoes of it all. Who exactly is the one that dies at the end of the White Lotus, whose body is found? And that, of course, spoilers, of course, I mean, if you've already been watching, you know the spoilers are coming, was Tanya. Tanya was the one who ultimately met her demise. And it was a really out of left field thing to happen, right? Like, we would never have expected Tanya, because I felt like she was going to be that guest that was always in every White Lotus season. As you know, White Lotus is coming back for a third season, so it just felt natural that we would see her sort of emerge victorious from all of this. But alas, she is the one that bites the bullet. The whole thing with Quentin and his friends plotting against her with Greg turned out to be true. They were going to get her killed by the guy that she had spent the night before, and she pretty much finds this all out after Portia calls her and tells her something's going on, and she starts to piece everything together, that the only way Greg was going to get her money was not through the divorce, but if she actually died. Then when the guy shows up that's going to take her supposedly back to the hotel, she is sort of like trying to buy time, stall all of this, and then she runs and grabs his bag he left on the couch, where she finds rope, duct tape, a gun, and everything, so she knows something's about to happen. The guy guy eventually and the other men there start to sort of like ask her what is she doing and all of this, and she just panics, pulls out the gun and starts firing at everybody, killing all of them. And then she's just stuck there. She can't escape because the boat is like really like high off from the yacht that she can escape through, and she tries to jump, and eventually she just falls to her death and is just floating there, as we see that Daphne does find her the next morning. Portia, as we know, was with Jack this whole time. Jack lets her leave to the airport, tells her to not look back. Don't think about this anymore. These are powerful people. They're going to come at you if you try to go, so just leave. That's my best advice to you. And he just leaves her there. So pretty much that's how we end the White Lotus. We see that Lucia does make it with all of the money as well that Alby has given her. Alessio, of course, was never really the pimp. He was just the doorman. And we see that her and Mia just live their happy life. That's pretty much the end that we see right there, as we see that now Mia is the singer for the White Lotus, as Giuseppe has been pushed aside and fired. And now we also see that Dominic might just get another chance with his wife, as they say, we could talk when you get back, because Alby put in that good word for him. So I think it was a great season finale. I think the whole thing with Harper, Cameron, and Daphne was really well put together. Like, you really felt this tension, and you didn't know what to believe, what to really like take in or not. And I think that the way that the drama and everything was built up between the four of them was great. I liked especially the finale where we see that Ethan finally's had enough of Cameron, goes to him in the beach, and they just have this little brawl together. So overall, I did really dig that tension that was building between the two couples, and how we eventually see both of them at the end just like nothing ever happened, and then just move on with their lives and see where they go from here. And I also like the conflict between Alby, his grandfather, and sort of like this generational thing, and how it is different between the three men, and at the same time they're the same type of person as well, and just showing that difference back and forth I think was really great in this episode. And yeah, Greg is definitely now inheriting all of that money. And Mike White actually said during the post show that they do for every episode, for this episode, that Tanya was something that he didn't think was going to happen. He just couldn't come to terms with killing her, but eventually he said that that's the best way to go. He did say that that is not the last of Greg we will probably hear, so I'm expecting something in season 3, as he says and implies all of these other bodies on the boat. Something had to have happened, and somebody's going to be doing some snooping, I feel. Now, will it be Portia? I don't think it will be Portia, but we'll talk more about that in my season 3 theories video I'll do later this week. So stay tuned for that and what I think could be happening here, and who could be the new recurring character. Is it Greg, or what could it be? So I'll talk more about my thoughts and opinions on that pretty soon. So if you want to hear more about that, make sure you're subscribed. But anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions on The White Lotus season 2 episode 7, the finale. What did you think? What did you think of Harper and Ethan? Do you think that Harper and Cameron had something together or not, or do you think it was all just in Ethan's head? Do you think that Ethan and Daphne did something? It kind of alluded to that, even though the director himself said that he wasn't spilling the beans on anything. I feel like Daphne, as we know from what she's told Harper and all of that, knowing or feeling that Harper and Cameron had something, she probably told Ethan, we had to get back at them. This is the only way we're going to feel good about ourselves. We have to do something else to sort of like trump that feeling of feeling like a victim. And I think that her and Ethan probably had something on that island they went to. I think the whole thing with Portia and Jack as well was very interesting, and at the end seeing Alby and Portia sort of mend this relationship, where we pretty much were like, y'all should just had this relationship right from the beginning. But I think it's the whole thing with wanting more, and sort of like what you have right in front of you not feeling as like adequate, because we live in a society where you feel like you're missing out and you don't have like enough of something, so you try to get more out of it. And I can't find the term for it, but it's sort of like they were okay in this relationship they had, but it was sort of this illusion of grandeur that they had for like what they wanted. It sort of made everything cloudy, and they now see it after the dust has settled, as Portia says that Jack is deranged, and we see Alby say that Lucia played him, that they're just like, yeah, we should have just stuck to each other when we were starting this off, and we would have been fine. And I think a lot of the things that we see happened wouldn't have happened, right? So definitely a very, very interesting season, and we'll talk more about it, the symbolisms and all that if y'all want. But make sure that, as always, like I said, we are running a giveaway. Make sure you're subscribed. Comment below your favorite show and movie of 2022 to enter the giveaway. You have to be subscribed, and comment below your favorite movie or show of 2022. A winner will be announced on December 25th, so stay tuned for that. But as always, I'll see all of you next time. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. Follow us on social media, and I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.